Thank you so much for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. I really do appreciate it very much. Once again, here we are together, me and you, just the two of us here, trying to figure out what is going on. What is going on in the world around us? People are acting weirder and weirder as each day goes by. Now, we've got a lot to get into on the Uncle Henry Show today. If you'd like to jump in on the program and share some with me and the listener, telephone lines are available for you, 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Email address, unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. That's unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. Now, tonight, President Trump is said to make a primetime address to the nation. I believe it's scheduled for 8 our time. And this is a primetime address that we now live in a new era. Now, back in the day, a president addressed the nation. He would be on the major television networks, but now they don't do that anymore because there's a zillion channels. And so NBC and ABC have already said they are not going to carry the primetime address for the people watching ABC and NBC. Don't know if CBS is going to do it or not, but you'll have to look for it on cable news or online if you want to see the president's primetime address to the nation. Now, he is allegedly going to be talking about some declassified documents. These are supposed to be released tomorrow, allegedly. And all of this is being reported by people that claim they've got sources. So I don't know how much of this is actually going to happen or not. But what's being reported by some folks is that the president is going to talk about election integrity, and these declassified documents are allegedly going to show evidence that China interfered in the 2020 election to try and help Biden, allegedly hacking into state voter registration databases, stealing voter info to ostensibly manufacture mail-in ballots. All of this going on, allegedly. So we'll find out once the speech is made. But I heard Fox talking about this. Fox News headlines just a few minutes ago on News Radio 710 WNTM. The Fox News reporter on the radio wanted to underline that the election's been investigated. No evidence of fraud whatsoever. No evidence of fraud whatsoever. So maybe there's evidence that they've uncovered. Who knows? But there have been a lot of people worried in the country about election integrity, even before the 2020 election. In fact, I can remember Democrats, back before Trump got elected, worried about the Republicans cheating and telling us that the Republicans could cheat and possibly win by cheating. So both political parties have accused each other of cheating in elections. I would think that most of us would want to have secure elections, right? Most of us would want secure elections. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want a secure election? And that whole line of thinking brings us up to the Save America Act, which looks like it can never get passed in the United States of America. This is what I would like to see happen. This is the kind of legislation that I would like to see in our Congress. And I have no faith in Congress ever doing much of anything I ever want them to do ever again. You may have noticed, those that vote Republican, you've got a Republican president, you've had a Republican-controlled Senate, a Republican House, and still not much of nothing going on. Even with Republicans in control, they can't get much of nothing done up there. This is what I wish we could have passed in terms of making elections secure in this country. I would love to see a national requirement for photo ID presented before you vote in person. Voting in person was never a problem until a few years ago. And then after a few years ago, people are acting like it is just unbelievably ridiculous that you would be required to go vote in person. You know, we used to do that for just about the first 200 plus years of the country, vote in person. Why can't we do it now? We used to do it. So I'd have voting in person, like we always have, and I would have photo ID required. Most Americans are in favor of a photo ID being required when you vote. Most people are. In fact, and you can make it a star ID. You can make it something hard to fake. I hope we would make it hard to fake any kind of ID. But let's go ahead and have that nationwide, that you got to have a photo ID to vote, at least in a federal election. Anybody that tells you that for some people they just can't, it's beyond them to get an ID. It's just beyond them to get an ID. Well, I don't believe that personally. Just from what I've observed in life, I don't believe that some people just can't get an ID. I just don't believe that. If there's somebody in our country, excuse me, that was born here that they can't find a way to get an ID, then they've got bigger problems in their life than figuring out who to vote for and going and voting for them. They've got other things to settle. They need to figure something out. They've got other fish to fry, other than choosing their senator or whatever it is. They got other problems. So I'd require the ID, and then I would say that the voting age in this country should be raised to 21. It should. It should be raised to 21. If you can't be trusted to buy a beer, you cannot be trusted to pick the president. I want you to think about this. This is not complicated. If you cannot be trusted to buy a beer, why should you be trusted to pick the president? Now, there would be some exceptions for people under the age of 21, and I would say anybody that is active duty military, they should be allowed to vote. Somebody working, if they're under 21 and somehow working as a first responder, I think they should be able to vote too. But other than that, look, if we don't want you to, we say it's buying some vodka, it's too risky. It's too risky for you. You don't have the knowledge yet to know whether or not you should buy vodka and then how much to drink. Then why should we allow this person to vote? You know, there's some lunatics that want to lower the voting age. They want to lower it to like 16 or something. Those people, by the way, are out of their minds, nuts. No, voting age should be raised to at least 21. And then after that, if I really had the legislation passed that I would want to see passed, I would have people under the age of 30 get half a vote. Yes, under age 30, you get a half a vote. And that's because the scientists have shown us the brain is not fully formed until the late 20s. There's still a lot of people in their late 20s living with mom and dad. They're on mom and dad's health insurance, all this kind of stuff. So under the age of 30, half a vote, your vote would be half. Then, between the ages of 30 and 70, you get your full vote. And then people over the age of 70 to death, get a vote and a half. And that's because people 70 and older they are just naturally smarter due to their life experiences. They have life experience. They can look back and put things into proper context. People under the age of 30, they can't put things into people under the age of 30, they don't remember people. Once upon a time, people drank water that they didn't have to buy in a bottle. They drink it out of the tap or out of a hose. People that can't remember, people under the age of 30 don't even know. They don't even know why a lot of us think it's nuts to spend so much money on a cup of coffee. Look, the age gives you the proper life experience to put things in proper context and perspective to make a better vote. These are the things I would do. If we were to just do the things I've just outlined, it would lead to a true golden age in the United States of America and would help us safeguard our country from all these insane lunatics, communists, socialists, all those folks. All right, going to take a timeout, a brief one, brief timeout, and then more Uncle Henry Show as we continue here on News Radio 710 WNTM. This is the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. I appreciate you listening to the show. Telephone number 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Email address unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. That's Uncle Henry at iheartmedia.com. News headlines coming up in less than 10 minutes, give or take several minutes. Now, let's see. I've got some voicemail that I want to get to on the Uncle Henry Show, in addition to the possibility of live callers. Now, sometime in the last few weeks, we had a voicemail from the retired Mad Trucker LD. It was kind of a blast from the past. It was LD used to call in for years, getting upset when he would go and see people using EBT, getting food that he felt that he himself could not afford. It was very frustrating for LD, feeling like he could not afford what these other folks were buying. And that particular call was included in the Uncle Henry Show podcast, and Buford heard it. Buford Buford has his own story to tell.
Anchor, this here's Buford. Well, interviewing the podcast and heard LD, the married retired trucker, hit an apex on the welfare queen. He saw Sean Shea on out of that Walmart.
Oh, I'm pausing there, and I'm sorry to pause already before he gets to his story. The phrase welfare queen used by Buford, is that still a thing? Does that still exist in modern society? I think we used to hear this, in the 1980s and into the 90s? Is it still a thing in the country? Back to the voicemail.
LD, I got you beat, man. I got you freaking beat. You watch that old daggum welfare queen steaks, Twinkies, and the car overflowing, getting her brand new car. Why don't you do this? I don't know if you vote, LD, but I do. I don't have nothing extravagant because I'm not on welfare. I got to work for a living. I got me just a little old, 19-foot Carolina skiff. It does everything I need a boat to do. It's nice, boat that's someone like of my means can afford. But you follow that daggone welfare queen, LD, because we've got the EBT crowd has made it into voting. That's right. Watch one go up to the marina.
So this is going to be some type of EBT at the marina story for people that are boating? All right, this is new ground being broken on complaining about this.
Watch one go up to the marina, get a bunch of snacks and everything while I'm getting gas, pop out that EBT card. And then she just wanders on over to their boat. They're in a newer boat than me. More expensive boat. They had a fine boat. This is one of them center console blackjacks. I don't know if you know what that is, but that is a high-end boat.
Yes, the center console, I don't know about the center console blackjacks, but I know that my wife, she speaks admiringly of center console boats. I don't know if she's dropping hints. I think she's dropping hints because anytime we drive by and there's one of these, oh look, there's a center console boat over there. So I don't know if I'm supposed to get one or something like that. But anyway, so this lady used EBT and then got into a center console blackjack.
Center console blackjacks. I don't know if you know what that is, but that is a high-end boat. And Mrs. Buford, I had Mrs. Buford in the Buford children out, and Mrs. Buford goes, how do they do that? How can they, she's on food stamps, how can they afford a $150,000, $200,000 boat? Oh, and it was pulled by an $80,000 truck. I told him, I said, well, think of what we could have if our house was paid for by the government, if our food was paid for by the government, and we sent our children to, public schools. But just the house, the school beside the point, just the house and food, the two biggest expenses. That's why they got all them toys. And they do have jobs, some of them do. But see, there's a different welfare system for different people, and I know that for a fact because I know a lady that works in the welfare office.
All right, look, and I don't dispute what you saw, but if somebody can somehow qualify for food stamps and have an $80,000 truck and a $150,000 boat, somebody needs to write a how-to manual. I mean, is there a how-to manual for this? Do they write? I guess they don't write how-to books anymore. Should I go on YouTube or the TikTok and look for some type of how to do this? I think a lot of people would like to try and do this if you can. Put together some type of guide for the rest of us. I would settle for just the truck. No, I know the wife likes the center console boat. I'd like the truck.
Anyway, just figured I'd pass that along. As they say, misery loves company. But I got your beat on that one, LD. But I'm right there with you, buddy. You have a good day.
All right, very good. Buford, thank you for telling that story. I don't doubt you witnessed what you witnessed. But I do not understand. And also, you said that a lady that works in that industry told you that there's a different welfare system for different people. Now, that I would love, if you have any future details to share with me, please leave them in a future voicemail because I'd like to learn about that. The voicemail number, 251-216-1976. That's 251-216-1976 to leave a message for the Uncle Henry Show. All right, here we are. News headlines coming up, and then more Uncle Henry Show after the break. Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Telephone number 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Now we had, I guess it was last week, I had a voicemail from West Loxley, Alabama that was concerned about the news stories that were starting to spread about explosive diarrhea. And I apologize for using that phrase, but that was in the news. That was in the headline of the story that I found about it. Explosive you know what. And many people, nobody wants that. Nobody even wants to say it or even think about it, let alone experience it. Well, unfortunately, we have a press release from the Mobile County Health Department. And the press release reads, the Mobile County Health Department has confirmed a case of cyclospore, whatever they call it, the explosive you know what, in Mobile County that may be associated with recent international travel. Now, this is the press release says this is an intestinal illness caused by a parasite and is typically transmitted through contaminated food or water. And they say, well, there's safety tips and stuff like that. But there are other cases that have popped up elsewhere in the state of Alabama. Let me share with you a report on this. We gave some safety tips from this. This is from WSFA up in Montgomery, where they say that at the time they did this, there were 11 cases.
Here, we've been hearing about the cyclosporiasis outbreak in
Cyclosporiasis.
other states. Well, now the parasite, which can cause serious gastrointestinal problems, has been diagnosed in Alabama.
The state health department says 11 cases have been reported so far. Our Jessica Umbro has the new information. And Jessica, what do we know about these Alabama cases?
Well, we know that there are 11 total. None of them have resulted in hospitalization or death. That's according to the Alabama Department of Public Health. Alabama is still experiencing a lower presence of cyclosporiasis compared to other states.
I'm pausing here just to reflect, and I hate to be morbid about this because you just heard the reporter lady say that so far no hospitalizations or death from this intestinal thing. There's I don't know if there are a lot of bad ways to go. I hate to even think about it. I would truly hate to meet my end battling an intestinal problem.
Southeast and across the country, but health experts do want people to be aware of how to prevent it from spreading further.
People can get infected by consuming food or water that is contaminated with the parasite.
We know that this is caused by eating or drinking the parasite, but the exact list of foods causing this current national outbreak of cyclosporiasis is unknown. Symptoms can include repetitive bowel movements or diarrhea, bloating, and stomach cramps. For now, fresh
what a terrible way to meet your end.
produce is taking focus. Make sure you're washing your hands and your food thoroughly.
What is probably concerned a lot of people right now is that we haven't identified that one food that we should be avoiding or the one brand. And so what we're kind of falling back on is what we know typically has been associated with other outbreaks.
Since May, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say they've received 1,600 reported cases nationwide.
Choosing locally grown produce or growing your own can help minimize risk of
So grow your own. Get on that quick.
contracting cyclosporiasis, and also choosing canned or frozen produce as an alternative.
The Alabama Department of Public Health says out of the 11, 9 are in the northern part of the state, 1 in the northeastern, and 1 in the southwestern parts of the state.
If you have symptoms that are coming and going over time, then it's recommended to seek testing and treatment from a healthcare provider.
Alabama's Commissioner of Agriculture and Industries, Rick Pate, said in a statement that the state will be working with the Food and Drug Administration and the CDC to communicate any updates as they become available. Val?
All right, thanks a lot.
That would be, if I were the Commissioner of Agriculture and I had to deal with intestinal things like that. Now, I would rethink wanting to be the agriculture commissioner. Anyway, wishing everyone the best. Always good advice to wash your hands, isn't it? Always good advice. Now, a lot of people for years have said we need not to be afraid of the dirt. We need to have exposure to contaminants in our life so we can build up our immune system. This is a case where go ahead and wash your hands. Just for a while. While this is going around. And then if you want to be a pig from that point forward, then you can be piggish and not wash your hands. But right now would be a good time to wash your hands. All right. The Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Going to take a quick timeout, brief break, and then back with more Uncle Henry Show. It says the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. News headlines coming up in just a little more than 10 minutes here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Telephone number 251-479-2723. That's 251-479-2723. Email address unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. That's unclehenry@iheartmedia.com. Hello, caller.
Hey, Henry, this is Jimmy the Economist. How
Jimmy,
you doing?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. What's up with you?
Little sweat, little work.
Good.
Head to the house, but I was wondering if you'd seen that poo-poo media discuss the low flyover in Pensacola yesterday morning.
Oh, I have not seen the liberal media talking about it. Now, the first reactions I saw on social media were people were excited and liked it. Now, what is the update on this?
I don't know, some well-groomed dude in New York who's reading the screen. I don't think they're real happy about it. I don't know what station it is, but I also saw it on Instagram. But I guess they had a friend or two on the beach who got a speck of sand in their eyes when I would have wanted to be there. I've seen them plenty times, but a low pass like that, I won't be a part of it. And I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I saw people I saw some people on social media saying it was one of the greatest things they'd seen, that they wish they had been there.
Yeah, and then the Secretary of War says that the low flyovers will continue as morale increases. They'll continue more and more. So I'm all about it. I mean, these guys practice during the winter. I work down at the beach in the winter. They're there every 2 days in a row, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Even on Fort Morgan. These guys know what they're doing. Now, a failure of the plane is a different story of mechanisms. But I wish I would have been there. I wouldn't mind him putting sand down my pants, in my eyes, in my ears, as long as I could have been there to see that.
I agree.
But,
I agree with you on all of that.
But leave it to the fools in New York to say that a speck of sand got into their 3-year-old's eyes and their had to reset their tin up. Who goes down there at the Blues and puts a freaking tin up, you DA? It's magic. Tent blocks the view, you fool. You don't go down there with a tent. Anyway, the liberal media. I mean, leave it to them to ruin something fantastic.
I agree.
See you later.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Outstanding to bring that up. It's something that this year, I don't know, you, the listener, you've probably gone to one of the air shows, the Blue Angels air shows, if you've lived around here for a while. Now, if you haven't, you ought to, because they are quite impressive. Understand that this year's Pensacola Beach Air Show they're celebrating the 80th anniversary of the Blue Angels, and it's the 250th anniversary of our country. You may remember that. And so they've expanded it. There's going to be additional aircraft involved. It's just going to be great. The dress rehearsal for it is tomorrow at Pensacola Beach, and the official air show is Saturday. If you need more info, probably you'll be able to find it at newsradio710.com. But I would have no problem with a low flyover from the Blue Angels. Now, I wanted to mention something just for longtime Uncle Henry Show caller, Snake Trapper. Today is World Snake Day. Yes, snakes. I didn't know that snakes got their own day. But today is World Snake Day. I don't know if there's been any celebrations or any observances. There's probably not a lot of people that appreciate snakes the way that Snake Trapper does. I know there's a few, but not like Snake Trapper. But anyway, it is World Snake Appreciation Day. And strangely, it's also Guinea Pig Appreciation Day. Yes, that's a real thing. Guinea Pig Appreciation Day. Now, I don't know how the guinea pigs feel about being grouped into the same day with the snakes. They probably don't appreciate having Guinea Pig Day the same day as the Snake Day. They probably don't like that. But it is a day to appreciate either or both. Well, let's see. What else can I get into before we are out of time here on the Uncle Henry Show? I saw a story that I don't even know what to think about this. I'm worried about what they're going to do to these people. But there's going to be a remake once again of the Mickey Mouse Club and the Mouseketeers. Yes, the Mickey Mouse Club and the Mouseketeers. You know, my kids used to love watching Mickey Mouse, the Mickey Mouse Club with Annette Funicello, and who else was on there? Darlene. Do I remember a Darlene and a Doreen? Cubby. I remember Cubby because of his name. I didn't know any other Cubbies, and I don't think I've ever met another Cubby. But Annette Funicello, Cubby, Darlene, Doreen, all the different Mouseketeers. I knew that today's Tuesday, you know what that means? There's going to be a special guest. It was the entertainment of the first incarnation of the Mickey Mouse Club. It was wonderful for our nation's children. They put it on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in the 1950s, and you could let your children watch it, and you wouldn't have to worry about perversion being on there or them learning about the birds and the bees from the Mickey Mouse Club. They were wearing the mouse ears. Wednesday was Anything Can Happen Day. Thursday, I think Thursday was Circus Day, but I don't know that I remember seeing a lot of circus stuff on there. But what a wonderful show. And now they're going to do a new version of it. Here is Fox News reporting on how Disney is going to probably pervert the Mickey Mouse Club.
The Mickey Mouse Club is eyeing a revival as Disney Plus had ordered a pilot for a reboot of the classic kids program. Originally launched in 1955, before undergoing several iterations, the show is responsible for discovering and launching.
All right, let's hear the celebrities. I know Annette Funicello and Cubby and
young talent, including Annette Funicello,
yes,
Britney Spears, Ryan Gosling, Justin Timberlake, and Christina Aguilera.
See, this has already been perverted, and now it's going to be brought forward for a new generation of perversion.
The new squad of youngsters anchoring the reboot pilot are some of the Camp Rock 3 cast members and more. Music will play a large role in the variety program, which begins production on the pilot this month. Monica DeLuca, Fox News.
See, it's sad. I guess that's the main emotion I've got about this. To me, it's sad because it's Disney. You've got to wonder how nasty is it going to be. What kind of stuff are you going to wish your kids didn't learn about on the new Mickey Mouse Club? You know, you could put your back. Look, 55 to 60. Your kids could watch it. There was nothing on there about blankuality. There were males and females, and nothing else. They had Spin and Marty. That was good. And the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys were on there. Just wonderful stuff. And now there's just no telling how weird it's going to get. They're probably very excited about the opportunity to get as perverse as they can with America's children on this. So just beware of this. Those of you that are old enough to remember the original Mickey Mouse Club, make sure that your children and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren are not somehow affected by this. Just do whatever you can to make sure that nothing horrible happens and they don't see anything disgusting like that. All right, let's see. Almost out of time in this hour of the Uncle Henry Show. There's much more show coming up in the next hour of Uncle Henry Show. A lot of other news items I didn't get a chance to get to. Got a few voicemails stacked up that I may get to as well. So all of that coming up after 6 o'clock here on News Radio 710 WNTM. A reminder that previous episodes of the Uncle Henry Show are available as a podcast. You can find that on the iHeartRadio app. Just look for Uncle Henry Show on the iHeartRadio app. You've got to include the word show because if you just put in Uncle Henry, there's lots of other Uncle Henrys in radio, all kind of different Uncle Henry shows in radio that you would find. I think I've told you before, there's somebody some Uncle Henry figure out there that is making songs for toddlers. I might have to play some of that on the show one day if it itself isn't perverted. But anyway, make sure when you're looking it up on the iHeartRadio app, include the word show, Uncle Henry Show, and then you'll find this show, and you can set a preset in the app for the show, and then anytime there's something new, it'll pop up and you'll be able to find it easily. You could also set a preset just like a car radio for this radio station or your other favorite radio stations. You can even scan the radio dial in any zip code in the country just by getting that iHeartRadio app and scanning the radio dial in that zip code. All of that in the app. It's absolutely free. All right, news headlines coming up and then more. Uncle Henry Show here on WNTM.